The sun was just beginning to rise over the silver city of Arvin Prime, casting long beams of golden light across the metallic streets. The colony world was alive with noise and movement. Shuttles hummed above, and alien traders opened their stalls, calling out prices in dozens of languages. Among the crowd walked a man who looked tired but determined. His name was Tom, a human single father who had arrived on Arvin Prime 2 years ago, chasing work and hope for his small son. Tom wore an old jacket that had been patched more times than he could count. His boots were cracked, and his hands carried the stains of engine grease. In his arms, he held a sleeping baby wrapped in a thin blanket. The baby's name was Liam. He was only 1 year old and was the only reason. Tom woke up every morning. Life on Arvin Prime was hard for humans. The planet was ruled by the Zelari Empire, a race of tall, shining, blue-skinned aliens who saw humans as a lesser species. Humans could not hold high jobs or own land. They worked in repair docks, mining zones, or cleaning crews. Tom had worked as a ship mechanic for the last year, fixing engines that no one else wanted to touch. But 2 weeks ago, the company replaced all human workers with automated drones. Tom had searched every dock and factory for work. Every time, the answer was the same. We don't hire humans anymore. His savings were gone. His food supplies had run out. He had sold almost everything he owned just to buy milk for his son. That morning, he awoke before dawn. The small metal room he called home was cold and dim. The baby stirred and began to cry softly. Tom held him close, whispering to calm him. He checked the small tin box that held his money. Inside lay one single coin, small and dull, with scratches along its edge. It was the last of what he had left. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the coin for a long time. He could use it to buy food or power for one more night of heating. But Liam needed diapers, and that was not something he could ignore. The baby's skin had already started to redden from the lack of clean ones. Tom sighed deeply, kissed his son's forehead, and stood up. The streets outside were already busy. The market stretched for miles, filled with vendors selling everything from alien fruits to shining jewels. The smell of roasted food filled the air, and the sound of laughter came from well-fed alien families. Tom walked carefully, holding his son close and keeping the coin tight in his hand. He stopped in front of a small stall that sold baby supplies. The owner, a four-eyed alien with green skin and sharp teeth, looked up as Tom approached. "What do you need, human?" the alien asked. Tom held up his coin and pointed to a small pack of diapers. "How much for that?" The alien's eyes flicked to the coin, then back at Tom. "That pack costs 5 units. You only have one." Tom's heart sank. He had hoped the price had not gone up again. He looked at the pack, then at his son. "Please," he said quietly. "I just need 1 pack." "I can work for you if you want," alien vendor laughed. "I don't need work from a human. Maybe try the trash bins behind the docks." Tom turned away, feeling shame burn in his chest. He began to walk farther down the market, searching for another stall. But the prices were all the same. Everywhere he went, aliens turned him away or ignored him. Finally, he found a small corner shop run by an old Zelari woman. She had kind eyes and wore a faded blue robe. Tom approached carefully. "Ma'am," he said, his voice quiet, "I have only 1 coin left. My son needs diapers. Can I trade this for a small pack, please?" The woman looked at the baby in his arms and at the tired lines on Tom's face. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she nodded slowly. "1 pack for 1 coin," she said softly. Tom's eyes filled with relief. He reached into his pocket, took out the coin, and placed it on the counter. The woman handed him the small pack of diapers. "Thank you," he said, his voice shaking. "You have no idea how much this means." The woman smiled faintly. "Take care of your child, human. Times are hard, but hearts must stay soft." Tom turned away, holding the pack tightly against his chest. He walked toward the outer edge of the market, where he could sit and feed his baby. But as he walked, a soft voice behind him said, "Wait." He turned around. A figure was standing a few steps away, surrounded by a small group of guards. The crowd around them went silent. The figure was tall and graceful, her blue skin shimmering under the sunlight. Her long silver hair flowed behind her like silk. The air seemed to hum around her presence. Everyone in the market bowed low. Tom did not know what to do. He just stood there, holding his baby and the small pack of diapers. The guard stepped aside, and the woman approached him slowly. Her eyes were bright gold, filled with something Tom could not understand. She looked at the coin the shopkeeper had placed aside, and then at the tired man before her. "Is this true?" she asked the shopkeeper. "He paid his last coin for this." The shopkeeper nodded. "Yes, my empress." "What?" the crowd gasped. Tom felt his heart stop. He had just met the ruler of the Zalari Empire, Empress Varon herself, the most powerful being on Arvin Prime. The Empress looked at Tom again. "Why did you not ask for help from your own kind or from the city council?" Tom took a breath and answered honestly. "Because I've asked before." No one listens to a human mechanic. There was silence for a long moment. The Empress studied him carefully. Her eyes softened when she saw the baby clutching his father's shirt. Then she stepped forward and placed her hand gently on the counter. "I'll pay," she said simply. Tom blinked in confusion. "It's already paid, Your Majesty." She smiled faintly. "Then I'll pay again, for every pack he will need in the coming months." She turned to the shopkeeper. "Send the bill to my palace." The crowd murmured in disbelief. The shopkeeper bowed deeply, unable to speak. Tom stood frozen, unsure how to react. He had never seen kindness from a Zalari noble, let alone from the Empress herself. The Empress turned back to him. "You love your child?" she said softly. "That is a rare kind of strength. Many with riches forget such love." Tom lowered his eyes, unsure what to say. "Thank you, Your Majesty," he whispered. "I don't know why you would help me, but I will never forget it." The Empress gave a small smile. "Not all power is found in wealth. Sometimes it is found in those who keep walking, even when they have nothing left." With that, she turned and walked away, her guards following closely. The crowd slowly began to move again, whispering about what they had just seen. Tom stood there for a long time, holding his baby close. For the first time in months, he felt something inside him stir, not fear or worry, but hope. He looked down at Liam, who was now awake and staring up at him with big, curious eyes. "Did you see that, little one?" he said softly. "An empress helped us. Maybe things can change after all." He smiled for the first time in weeks. It was a small smile, but it came from the heart. The market lights began to glow brighter as the day went on. Somewhere in the sky above, the royal shuttle of Empress Varon flew back toward her palace. But in the crowded market below, one human father held his son tighter, knowing that a single act of kindness had changed everything that night. When Tom returned to his small home, he laid Liam down gently and looked at the pack of diapers on the table. It was a simple thing, yet it felt like a gift from the stars. He whispered a quiet thank you to the Empress, then to the universe itself. He did not know that this moment, a human's last coin and an alien Empress's choice to care, would soon begin a story that would spread across galaxies. The next morning began like any other for Tom. The air inside his small metal room was cold, and the lights flickered as power came on and off. He wrapped his baby Liam in a blanket and held him close. He had slept little that night. His mind kept replaying what had happened at the market. The memory of the Empress's golden eyes and her gentle voice stayed with him. Tom had seen rich aliens before, but never one who looked at a human with kindness. He still could not understand why she had helped him. Maybe she pitied him. Maybe she had only wanted to make a good show for the crowd. Still, no one had ever spoken to him with such calm respect. He went to check his food supply. There was only one small loaf of bread and a bottle of milk left. He divided them carefully. Liam drank his milk happily, while Tom took a small bite of the dry bread. He smiled weakly. "You eat first, little one," he said softly. "That's how it works for heroes like you." As the morning light grew stronger, there was a knock on the metal door. The sound was firm, but polite. Tom froze. No one ever visited him. He quickly put Liam in the small cradle and opened the door slowly. Standing outside was a tall alien soldier, wearing silver armor with the royal crest of the Zalari Empire. Behind him stood a small hover vehicle. The soldier bowed slightly. "Human Tom," he said in a deep voice. "The Empress requests your presence at the royal palace."
Oh.
Tom blinked in shock. "Me? Are you sure you have the right person?" "Yes," the soldier replied. "You are Tom, the mechanic who bought diapers yesterday in the city market, correct?" Tom nodded slowly. "Yes, that's me. Then please prepare yourself. A transport is waiting. The Empress herself asked to see you." Tom looked around his small home. He felt nervous. His clothes were old and torn, and he smelled of engine grease. "I cannot go to the palace like this," he said quietly. The soldier shook his head. "The Empress said to bring you as you are. She does not care for appearances." Tom felt his heart beat faster. He picked up Liam and wrapped him in the blanket again. The soldier's eyes softened when he saw the baby. "You may bring the child," he said. Tom stepped outside. The hover vehicle door opened with a soft hiss. Inside, the seats were made of smooth blue leather. It was the cleanest and most beautiful thing Tom had ever touched. He sat carefully, holding Liam close. As the door closed behind him, the vehicle lifted into the air and glided toward the tall towers of the royal district. From above, Tom could see the shining domes of the city, the floating gardens, and the glowing waterways. It was like another world compared to the dirty streets where humans lived. When they arrived at the palace, Tom's breath caught in his throat. The structure was massive, built from crystal and silver stone. Waterfalls ran down the sides and tall guards stood at every gate. The soldier led him through wide halls filled with paintings and glowing crystals. Finally, they entered a large chamber filled with soft light. At the center stood Empress Veyron herself, wearing a simple silver gown. She was taller than Tom remembered, but her presence was calm and kind. She smiled when she saw him. "Welcome, Tom," she said in her gentle voice. "I am glad you came." Tom bowed awkwardly. "Your Majesty, I did not know you truly meant it when you helped me. I thought maybe it was only a kind gesture." The Empress shook her head. "When I say I will help, I mean it. Please sit." Tom sat carefully on the soft chair. Liam stirred in his arms, and the Empress's eyes softened when she saw the baby. "What is his name?" she asked Liam. Tom said with pride. "He is my son. He means everything to me." The Empress smiled. "A beautiful name. He looks strong." For a moment, the room was quiet. Then she said, "I wanted to meet you because what you did yesterday touched me deeply. You spent your last coin not on food or warmth, but for your child. That shows heart and strength." Tom looked down at his hands. "I did what any parent would do. He depends on me. I cannot fail him. Many with much more have done far less," she replied. "Your love reminded me of something our empire has lost. Too many of us care for power and not for people." Tom did not know what to say. He could only nod quietly. The Empress turned to her advisor, a tall alien with green eyes. "Bring the file," she said. The advisor handed her a small crystal tablet. She tapped it once and then looked at Tom. "I read your work record. You were a ship mechanic at the East Repair Dock. Your supervisors wrote that you fixed systems no one else could and worked harder than all others. Why did they release you?" Tom sighed. "They said humans were not needed anymore. Machines took our jobs." The Empress frowned slightly. "That is wrong. Machines can build, but only humans think with emotion and care. Your people have creativity that even we envy." She paused for a moment, then spoke firmly. "I want to offer you a position in the royal fleet. We need engineers who can repair old systems and train others. You will live here at the palace, in the workers' quarter, with your child. You will be paid well and treated with full respect." Tom stared at her in disbelief. "Your Majesty, I don't know what to say. I've never been offered anything like this. I am only a simple mechanic." The Empress smiled. "Sometimes the simple ones carry the greatest light. Will you accept?" Tom's throat tightened. He looked down at Liam, who was awake and staring at the glowing walls. He thought of all the nights they had gone hungry, all the times he had begged for work. Then he looked back at the Empress. "Yes, I accept. Thank you, Your Majesty. I will work hard and never disappoint you. The Empress nodded with satisfaction. I believe you will. You will begin tomorrow. My aide will show you your new home and help you settle in. You will have everything you need. The meeting ended, and the soldier escorted Tom to a different part of the palace. The workers' quarters were far cleaner than anything he had ever seen. His new room had soft lighting, a clean bed, a kitchen unit, and even a small crib for Liam. Tom stood there in silence, unable to believe it was real. The soldier smiled slightly. The Empress rarely shows such care. You must have impressed her greatly. Tom nodded. I didn't do anything special. I just tried to care for my son. That is sometimes what changes the world. The soldier replied before leaving. Tom sat on the bed holding Liam on his lap. The baby laughed, playing with Tom's fingers. Tom looked around the room and felt something warm rise in his chest. It was peace, something he had not felt in years. Later that evening, he was called to the royal workshop to see his new station. The room was huge, filled with advanced machines, tools, and parts. Alien engineers looked up when he entered. Some whispered quietly when they saw a human wearing the royal badge. The supervisor. A tall Zellery male named Rin approached. You are the new engineer from the Empress's order. Yes, Tom said. I will start tomorrow. Rin studied him carefully. The Empress must see something in you. Work hard, and maybe the others will too. Tom smiled faintly. I plan to. When he returned to his room, he found a small basket waiting by the door. Inside were fresh food, warm clothes, and another pack of diapers. There was also a short note written in beautiful handwriting. It said, "For your child." From one who believes in your strength. Tom held the note close. He knew who had sent it. The Empress's kindness was not for show. She truly cared. That night, as Liam slept peacefully, Tom stood by the window, looking out over the glowing city. Ships moved through the night sky, and the palace towers shone like stars. He thought about how far he had come from a hungry mechanic to a man with a home and purpose. He did not know what the future held, but for the first time, he felt he could build something better for his son. In another part of the palace, Empress Varan stood on her balcony, watching the same stars. Her advisor approached quietly. My Empress, the council may not approve of giving humans such positions. She turned her golden eyes toward him. Then the council will have to change. I saw in that man something they will never understand. He represents what we have forgotten. The strength to keep loving when the world gives nothing back. The advisor bowed and left. The Empress looked out at the horizon again. Humans, she whispered softly. Perhaps they are not as small as we once thought. And so, a single act of kindness in a crowded market became the beginning of a friendship that would soon test the limits of empires and hearts alike. The morning sun painted the palace towers of Arvin Prime in soft gold as Tom carried Liam toward the royal workshop. Today was his first full day as an official engineer for the Empress. The workshop stretched across an entire wing of the palace, filled with machines, tools, and components for the most advanced ships in the Zelari Empire. The hum of energy reactors and mechanical arms filled the air. Tom paused at the entrance, holding Liam close. Alien engineers of all shapes and sizes looked up at him, some curious, others suspicious. Humans were rare in such positions. He took a deep breath, remembering the Empress's words from yesterday. Sometimes the simple ones carry the greatest light. Will you accept? Yes, he whispered to himself. I will do my best. A tall Zelari named Rin, the supervisor, approached him with a tablet in hand. Your first assignment is the repair of a small transport vessel that has been malfunctioning for weeks, Rin said. No one has been able to fix it. The Empress specifically requested you check it first. Good luck. Tom nodded. He glanced down at Liam, who looked up at him with wide, curious eyes. Stay close, little one, Tom whispered. Today, we show them what humans can do. The transport vessel waited in the dock, covered in layers of dust and frost from the previous night. Its engines were silent. and its hull had scratches and dents. Alien engineers had already tried to repair it with advanced tools, but nothing worked. Tom examined the ship carefully. He touched the panels, listened to the vibrations, and traced circuits with his fingers. "You want to see how the human mind works?" one Zalari engineer whispered to another. "I wonder if he can actually fix it." Tom ignored the murmurs. He focused on the problem, letting his instincts guide him. He began dismantling a few components, replacing worn-out circuits with parts from his kit, and adjusting the energy flow manually. The other engineers watched in disbelief. Humans were not supposed to work with such precision. Hours passed. Sweat ran down Tom's forehead as Liam rested in a small cradle nearby. The baby's quiet breathing was the only sound outside of Tom's soft tools clinking. Finally, with one careful adjustment, Tom powered the engines. The ship shuddered, then hummed smoothly. The lights flickered and stabilized. The alien engineers stared in silence. Then, one by one, they nodded in amazement. "He did it," Rin said. "The ship is running perfectly. I've never seen this before." Tom wiped his hands and smiled faintly. Sometimes all a ship needs is someone who pays attention to small details. Word of Tom's skill spread quickly throughout the workshop. Alien engineers began to approach him for advice, asking questions about repairs, modifications, and optimization. Tom patiently explained every step, teaching them methods they had never considered. His simple human ways of problem-solving amazed the Zalari. By midday, a message arrived from the Empress herself. She requested that Tom come to the observation deck. He took Liam in his arms and followed the instructions. The observation deck overlooked the fleet yard. Ships of every size, from small scouts to massive transport cruisers, floated above the landing platforms. Empress Varon stood at the edge, watching the activity. When she saw Tom, she smiled. "Your work is remarkable," she said warmly. "Even the engineers are talking about your methods." Tom bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I just do what I can. I want to make things better." "That is exactly why humans are valuable," she replied. "You think differently. You act with care and foresight. It is something our empire has forgotten. I am glad you accepted my offer." Tom looked out at the fleet and then back at her. "I never imagined that a human like me could stand here, but your kindness made it possible." Empress Varen's golden eyes softened. Kindness is never wasted. Strength is not always measured by power or wealth. Sometimes it is measured by what you do for others. Tom nodded silently, feeling a surge of pride. Liam cooed softly in his arms, and he smiled. For the first time, he truly felt hope for the future. Back in the workshop, Tom's day continued with one success after another. He worked tirelessly, showing alien engineers techniques they had never imagined. He repaired damaged ships, optimized engines, and taught others to approach problems with patience and care. Slowly, their initial skepticism turned into admiration. Rin, the supervisor, observed quietly. "I have never seen a human accomplish so much in such a short time," he admitted. "The Empress must have chosen well." "Yes," one engineer added. "He does not just repair the ships, he improves them. He sees what we cannot." Tom's work became more than just fixing machines. It became a lesson for the Zalari engineers. They began to value human ingenuity, creativity, and persistence. Tom showed them that even small adjustments, careful observation, and thoughtful methods could make the most advanced ships run better than ever. At the end of the day, Tom returned to his room with Liam, exhausted but fulfilled. He prepared a simple meal for them both and sat near the window. Outside, the palace lights glowed like stars, and the city stretched out endlessly. Tom held Liam close, thinking about the day. From a man with only a single coin to a trusted engineer in the royal fleet, his life had changed overnight. He whispered to his son, "We are going to be okay, Liam. You will see. Humans can do great things, even here among the stars." The next morning brought a new challenge. A fleet of cargo ships was scheduled to depart for distant colonies, but several engines had begun malfunctioning. Panic spread among the alien crews, but Tom stepped forward confidently. He examined each ship, diagnosing the problems and offering solutions. He worked late into the night, carefully adjusting energy conduits, calibrating engines, and instructing alien engineers on manual procedures. By morning, every ship was ready to launch. The fleet commander approached him with astonishment. "You have saved our fleet," he said. "We would have lost weeks waiting for automated repair drones." "How did you manage it?" Tom smiled faintly. "I just looked closely and thought carefully. That is all." The commander nodded, clearly impressed. "Humans may be small in number, but they have skills we have underestimated." Word of Tom's success spread beyond the fleet. Empress Varen sent a personal message, asking him to meet her again. Tom carried Liam to the palace and entered her private chamber. The Empress was seated in a high chair, observing star maps projected in the air. "You are proving to be invaluable," she said, her golden eyes warm. "You have reminded us that humans are capable of greatness, even in places where they are overlooked." Tom bowed. "I am only doing my part. My son depends on me. I must do better every day." The Empress nodded. "And you have inspired others to see beyond race, beyond species, and beyond prejudice. That is a rare gift." The first time, Tom felt truly proud, not just for himself, but for humanity. Humans had been treated as weak, insignificant, and incapable. Yet here he was, standing in the royal palace, respected by one of the most powerful rulers in the galaxy. He realized that humans had something unique: persistence, care, and courage even when the odds were against them. Days turned into weeks. Tom continued to work tirelessly, earning the respect of alien engineers and palace officials. He taught them patience, creativity, and compassion. He shared stories of Earth and humans, and slowly, the Zellery began to see that humans were not so different from themselves. Liam grew stronger each day, laughing, playing, and observing his father with bright, curious eyes. Tom balanced his work with caring for his child, showing the aliens that human strength was not only in skill, but in love and responsibility. One afternoon, a council meeting was held in the palace. The Empress invited Tom to attend as a guest. Other rulers and officials gathered, speaking about trade, resources, and expansion. When Tom spoke about the importance of valuing humans for their skills and creativity, many in the council were skeptical, but the Empress supported him fully. "Look at what one human has accomplished in just a few weeks," she said. "His skills, his care, and his persistence have saved fleets and taught our engineers. Do not dismiss humans based on prejudice. They are capable of greatness." The council members whispered among themselves, realizing the truth of her words. For the first time, many saw humans as equals, capable of contributing to the empire. As the meeting ended, Tom returned to the workshop, holding Liam in his arms. He looked around at the machines, the busy engineers, and the bright city beyond. He felt a deep sense of purpose. His life had changed, but not just because of the Empress's kindness. It had changed because he never gave up, because he continued to care for his son, and because he believed in himself that night. As he tucked Liam into the crib, Tom whispered softly one day, "Everyone will see what humans can do, Liam, and we will keep going, no matter what." Outside the palace, Empress Varen stood on the balcony again, watching the stars. "Perhaps humanity is not as small as we once thought," she said to herself. "Strength comes in many forms. Courage, love, and persistence are among the greatest." The human single dad continued to rise, showing the galaxy that even those who start with nothing can become a force of hope, skill, and courage. His journey was only beginning, but already the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter for humanity. The morning sky over Arvon Prime was pale and calm, but within the royal fleet yard, tension hung thick in the air. Tom had barely finished breakfast when the alarm sounded. Red lights flashed along the workshop walls, and the hum of machinery became chaotic. Engineers shouted, and crews ran to their stations. Tom grabbed Liam's hand, holding him close as he ran toward the control room. The transport ships ready for interstellar trade had reported system failures. Sensors showed energy surges that could damage the reactors and possibly destroy several ships. Panic spread among the alien engineers and fleet crews. Rin approached Tom, his expression grim. "This is beyond our usual problems. We do not know why the energy systems are failing. Several ships are at risk of critical damage." Tom took a deep breath and looked at the blinking monitors. "We have to stabilize the reactors quickly. Otherwise, the fleet could be lost." Rin hesitated. "You mean you want to lead the repair mission?" Tom nodded. "I will do it. There is no time to wait. We need someone who can see solutions others cannot." The Empress arrived shortly after, appearing calm despite the chaos. She placed a hand on Tom's shoulder. "I trust you, Tom. I have seen your work. Save the fleet and you will also save countless lives." Tom bowed respectfully. "I will do my best, Your Majesty." He quickly organized a team of engineers, both human and Zalari. They split into small groups and boarded the affected ships. Tom carried a compact toolkit, scanners, and repair modules. Liam was safely entrusted to a nurse in the palace quarters. The first ship was a cargo cruiser with a critical energy leak in the main reactor. Tom examined the reactor carefully, placing his hands on the metal panels and feeling for irregularities. "The coolant system is blocked," he said. "It needs manual adjustment before we can stabilize the reactor." One of the alien engineers looked nervous. "That is impossible. The controls are automated. No one can adjust them manually without risking a meltdown." Tom smiled faintly. "I have done this before. Trust me." Working carefully, he rerouted the coolant channels, adjusted pressure valves, and manually reset the reactor's core. The engine hummed steadily, and the warning lights faded. The crew cheered, amazed at how quickly the human had solved a problem that had baffled the best engineers for hours. Without rest, Tom moved to the next ship, a transport carrier with 5 critical engines showing overload warnings. He coordinated his teams, assigning each engineer a section while he worked on the core engine. Sweat ran down his forehead as he opened panels, reconnected circuits, recalibrated energy conduits. Hours passed, but Tom never wavered. He thought of Liam, of his duty as a father, and of the Empress's faith in him. Those thoughts gave him strength. One by one, the ship's engines stabilized. Crews began to look to Tom not just as a mechanic, but as a leader. His calm voice guided them through complex problems, and his hands moved with precision and confidence. By afternoon, the fleet was nearly fully operational. Tom moved to the final ship, a large cruiser carrying important supplies for distant colonies. This ship had suffered the most damage. Its main reactor was overheating, and if it exploded, it could destroy the dock and several smaller vessels. Tom's heart raced as he analyzed the situation. He realized that the automated systems had caused a feedback loop that no alien engineer had thought to check. He placed his hands on the control panels, adjusting flow valves manually and reconnecting circuits that had been bypassed incorrectly. "Careful, human," one of the Zalari engineers warned. "One wrong move, and the reactor will go critical." Tom nodded. "I'd know. Just follow my instructions." With steady hands, he made precise adjustments. The reactor's energy stabilized, the temperature dropped, and the lights on the control panel turned green. The ship's systems came back online smoothly. The crew erupted in cheers. Tom exhaled, feeling a wave of relief. By evening, the entire fleet had been saved. Every ship that had been in danger was now stable. Word of Tom's heroism spread quickly through the fleet yard. The Empress herself appeared, her golden eyes bright with admiration. "You have done more than I could have imagined," she said softly. "Not just for the fleet, but for everyone who believed in the impossible. You have shown what humans are capable of." Tom bowed. "I only did what was necessary. I could not let anyone get hurt, Your Majesty. That is all." The Empress smiled. "It is more than that. You acted with courage, skill, and heart. That is what makes heroes. That is what makes humans remarkable." The fleet commander approached, his expression filled with respect. "Your work has saved thousands of lives, Tom. We would have been powerless without your skill and leadership." Tom shook his head. "I could not have done it alone." The crews helped, and they followed instructions well. They trusted me, and I trusted them. The Empress nodded approvingly, and that is why humans should not be underestimated. You have reminded us that courage and determination can change the outcome of the impossible. The evening ceremony to honor Tom and the fleet's crews was simple but meaningful. The Empress presented Tom with a Medal of Honor, a symbol of courage and service recognized across the Empire. Engineers, crew members, and officials stood and applauded. Even those who had doubted him initially now bowed in respect. Tom held Liam in his arms during the ceremony. The baby laughed and reached for the shiny medal. Tom smiled down at him. "Look, Liam, your father's work helps save lives. One day, you will know how humans can make a difference." After the ceremony, the Empress asked Tom to walk with her across the palace gardens. The gardens were filled with glowing plants, floating fountains, and the soft light that made the palace feel like it belonged to the stars themselves. "You have done well," she said gently, "not just for the fleet, but for humanity. You remind us that courage, care, and perseverance are the strongest forces in the galaxy." Tom shook his head humbly. "I did what I had to do. My son depends on me. I could not fail him or anyone else." The Empress studied him for a moment. "You are a remarkable human. You make me believe that humans, though small in number, are capable of extraordinary things." Tom smiled faintly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. That means more than you know." The Empress nodded. "And there is more to come. Your skills, your heart, and your courage will soon inspire change throughout the Empire. You have begun a journey that many will follow." As the night fell, Tom returned to his quarters. Liam slept peacefully in his crib. Tom sat beside him, holding his hands and reflecting on the day. From the market stall with a single coin to saving an entire fleet, his life had changed beyond imagination. He realized that courage, skill, and care could overcome even the greatest obstacles. Humans may have been small in number, but their spirit was limitless. Tom whispered softly, "One day the whole galaxy will see what humans can do, Liam, and we will keep going, stronger than ever." Outside the palace, Empress Varen gazed at the stars. She spoke softly to herself. "Perhaps humanity is not as small as we once thought. They remind us that true strength is not in power alone, but in courage, love, and determination." And so, the human single dad continued his rise. From a man with a single coin to a hero of the fleet, Tom had proven that even in the face of overwhelming odds, a single human could change the destiny of many. His journey was far from over, but already he had lit a spark that would shine across the stars. The sun rose over the palace of Arvin Prime, bathing the towers in soft gold and silver. Tom stood by the window, holding Liam in his arms. The events of the last weeks had changed his life completely. From the small human mechanic with only a single coin, he had become a trusted engineer, a fleet hero, and an example of human courage and determination. Even now, he could hardly believe it. Yet every time he looked at Liam, he remembered why he had kept going. His son was the reason he had worked tirelessly, the reason he had never given up, and the reason he had inspired others to see the value of humanity. The palace was buzzing with activity. Today was a special day. The Empress had called a ceremony to recognize not only Tom but the human species for their courage, skill, and ingenuity. For the first time, humans were to be celebrated publicly in the Zalari Empire. Tom dressed in simple but clean clothes provided by the palace. Liam was wrapped in a soft blanket, his eyes wide with curiosity. Tom smiled down at his son. "Today, little one, you will see that humans can shine, even among the stars." The palace gardens were filled with officials, engineers, soldiers, and guests from across the empire. Flags fluttered in the wind, and the air was filled with excitement. Humans, usually overlooked, were seated in a section near the front. They whispered quietly among themselves, unsure of what to expect. Empress Varen stepped onto the stage, her golden eyes scanning the crowd. Her presence silenced the whispers instantly. "Today," she began, her voice strong and clear, "we celebrate courage, determination, and skill. Today, We honor a human who has reminded us all of the greatness that can exist in unexpected places. The crowd turned as Tom was called to the stage. He walked forward slowly, holding Liam tightly. Some humans gasped, unable to believe they were being recognized in front of such an audience. Alien officials whispered among themselves, some skeptical, some in awe. Empress Veyron extended her hand. "Tom," she said warmly, "your actions have saved lives, inspired engineers, and reminded the Empire that strength is not always measured in power or wealth. You have shown that the human spirit is capable of extraordinary things." Tom bowed respectfully. "Your Majesty, I only did what anyone would do for their child and for those in need." "I am humbled by your words." The Empress smiled. "Humility is another form of greatness. But today, you and your people must be recognized for the difference you have made. Let this be a new beginning for humans across the Empire." A long scroll of proclamation was read aloud, declaring that humans would be granted full rights in the Zelari Empire. They would be allowed to work in all positions, to own property, and to participate in governance. It was a historic moment. Humans cheered, some wiping tears from their eyes. Tom felt Liam kick in his arms and smiled down at him. After the ceremony, Empress Veyron invited Tom to walk with her in the gardens. The sun glinted off the silver fountains and the glowing plants, casting light across their path. "You have changed the Empire, Tom," she said. "Your actions have reminded us that value is not measured by size, species, or wealth, but by courage, care, and persistence." Tom shook his head humbly. "I just wanted to keep my son safe and to do my best. I never imagined it would lead to something so big." "That is exactly why humans are remarkable," she replied. "You act without expectation, and yet your actions ripple across galaxies." They stopped near a small glowing pool. The water reflected the light of the stars above. The Empress looked at Tom with something almost like admiration and respect. "You have proven that even when humanity has little, it can achieve greatness. Your persistence, love, and skill are lessons for all of us." Tom smiled faintly. "I hope other humans will see that too, Your Majesty. I hope they will believe in themselves." The Empress nodded. "They will, because of you. Your story will be told across the Empire. Humans will no longer be underestimated. They will be valued, respected, and celebrated." Over the next few weeks, Tom's life continued to change in ways he had never imagined. He was offered a permanent position as chief engineer in the Royal Fleet. He supervised teams of alien and human engineers, teaching them techniques that improved ship performance across the Empire. His name became known throughout the galaxy, not as a human mechanic, but as a leader, a problem solver, and a symbol of courage. At home, life with Liam was peaceful and full of joy. The small boy grew stronger every day, laughing, learning, and observing the world with bright, curious eyes. Tom balanced his responsibilities carefully, showing the Empire that a parent's love could be as powerful as any weapon or ship. One evening, while Tom and Liam played in the palace gardens, a group of young humans approached him. Their eyes were filled with hope. "Sir Tom," one of them said, "we heard what you did. You saved the fleet, and you helped humans gain respect. Will you teach us to be engineers like you?" Tom knelt down and smiled at the group. "Of course," he said. "I will teach you everything I know. But remember, being human is not just about fixing machines. It is about care, courage, and never giving up, no matter how hard things get." The children nodded, their faces shining with excitement. Tom realized that the future of humanity was in their hands. With guidance, encouragement, and courage, they could achieve great things. Meanwhile, the Empress continued to observe the progress of humans across the Empire. She spoke with her council about expanding human involvement in governance, science, and exploration. Slowly, prejudice faded, replaced with respect and admiration. Humans who had once been overlooked became engineers, leaders, and innovators, contributing to the Empire in ways no one had imagined. Tom watched this transformation with quiet pride. He had started with a single coin and a desperate need for diapers. Now he had changed not only his life, but the future of his entire species. He held Liam in his arms and whispered softly, "Look at what we can do, little one. One person can make a difference, and one human can inspire an entire galaxy." The Empress visited him again, standing quietly in the garden as Tom played with Liam and the children he was teaching. "You have done more than I imagined," she said. "You have not only proven the strength of one human, but shown the potential of all humanity." Tom looked up at her. "I only did what I had to do. I never expected this, Your Majesty. I just wanted to care for my son." "That is exactly why you succeeded," she replied. "True strength comes from love and responsibility. You've reminded us all that even the smallest actions can change the world." As the years passed, Tom's influence grew. Human engineers became integral to the royal fleet. Working alongside alien crews to explore new worlds and improve technology, the Empire thrived. The reputation of humanity grew beyond what anyone could have imagined. But for Tom, the greatest achievement was simple. Every day, he saw Liam grow, laugh, and learn. Every day, he knew that his son would inherit a world where humans were valued, respected, and capable of achieving anything. One night, standing on the balcony of his quarters, Tom looked out at the city and the stars beyond. Empress Valiant appeared beside him. "You have changed everything," she said softly. "You have reminded us that courage, skill, and love are more powerful than any empire, any wealth, or any weapon." Tom nodded. "I only did what any parent would do. But I hope it inspires others, Your Majesty. I hope humans will continue to rise and show the galaxy what they can do." "They will," she replied, "because of you." Tom looked down at Liam, who slept peacefully in his arms. The boy was the reason he had never given up. The boy was the reason he had risen from poverty and struggled to heroism and respect. Tom whispered softly, "We did it, Liam. We showed the galaxy what humans are capable of, and we will keep going, stronger than ever." The Empress smiled, her golden eyes reflecting the city lights. "Indeed," she said, "humans have proven themselves, and you, Tom, have proven that even the smallest actions, when done with love and courage, can change the course of history." The story of the human single dad who had spent his last coin on diapers became legend across the galaxy. A single act of care, a spark of courage, and unwavering persistence had changed not only one life, but the destiny of an entire species. The stars above Arvin Prime shone a little brighter that night, as if celebrating the triumph of humanity, a triumph born from love, hope, and a single father's courage. Humanity had risen, and the galaxy would never forget it.